So, you've got the latest smartphone, right? The one with the crazy good camera, the super fast processor, and a battery that supposedly lasts forever. You feel connected, powerful, basically unstoppable. But what if I told you there are places on Earth where that expensive piece of glass and metal in your pocket becomes, well, just a brick? Not because the battery died or you forgot your charger. No, these are places where the fundamental laws of technology just seem to break down. We're talking about spots so mysterious, so strange that they swallow radio waves, jam GPS, and make compasses spin like crazy. And it's not just your phone. We're talking about sophisticated navigation systems on billion-dollar ships and aircraft, just completely giving up the ghost. It's a pretty wild thought, isn't it? You rely on your tech for everything, from finding your way to a new coffee shop, to staying in touch with people you love. Now imagine all of it just stopping. Here at Omniverse Network, we love pushing tech to its limits. But today, we're exploring the places that push back. So the real question is, are these just glitches, natural phenomena, or is something else going on? We're about to count down the top 5 places on the planet where your tech is guaranteed to fail. And trust me, the number one spot is somewhere you might have been without even realizing it. Stick around because this is one rabbit hole you won't want to climb out of. Have you ever had your tech mysteriously fail on you? Let me know down in the comments. Alright, kicking off our list at number 5, we have a classic, a legend, a place that's been the star of countless spooky stories and documentaries, the Bermuda Triangle. Now I know what you might be thinking, the Bermuda Triangle? Isn't that just a myth? And yeah, there's a lot of sensationalism around it, but when you strip away the sea monsters and alien abduction theories, you're left with a genuinely fascinating and technologically baffling phenomenon that we can actually talk about. So, let's set the scene. You're the captain of a state-of-the-art vessel, or maybe the pilot of a modern aircraft. You're cruising through this stretch of the North Atlantic Ocean. The sun is out, the skies are clear, your dashboard is lit up with all the latest tech GPS, radar, radio communication, digital compasses. Everything is nominal, you have multiple layers of redundancy. You feel completely in control, because the tech is flawless, it's what you trust. Then, things start to get weird. Not a storm, not a giant wave, but something much more subtle. Your GPS starts to flicker. The coordinates it's giving you are jumping all over the place, making no sense. You try to radio for a position check, but all you get back is static. A deep, unnerving silence where a clear voice should be. Your instruments, the very eyes and ears of your modern machine, are going haywire. It's a pilot's and a captain's worst nightmare. This isn't just a scene from a movie. There are hundreds of documented cases of experienced pilots and sailors reporting massive electronic and magnetic anomalies in this region. Compasses, both traditional magnetic ones and modern gyro compasses, have been known to spin uncontrollably. It's as if the Earth's magnetic field has a massive invisible pothole right in the middle of the ocean. So what's the tech explanation? One of the leading theories is that this area experiences extreme, localized magnetic field variations. The Earth's magnetic field isn't uniform, and the Bermuda Triangle is one of the few places where true north and magnetic north align. This can already cause some confusion. But scientists also believe that large deposits of methane hydrates on the seafloor could erupt, releasing massive gas plumes that can interfere with electronic signals and even affect water density. Take Flight 19, a squadron of 5 U.S. Navy torpedo bombers that disappeared in 1945. The flight leader was heard on the radio, sounding disoriented, saying his compasses were broken and that he had no idea where he was, despite being an experienced instructor. Then, silence. The rescue plane sent to find them, it also vanished. 13 men, gone. So, the tip for any would-be travelers is this: learn to use a sextant and the stars. It's ancient tech for sure, but celestial navigation doesn't rely on batteries or radio signals. It's the ultimate analog backup. Coming in at number 4, we're moving from the middle of the ocean to the middle of the Nevada desert. We're talking about a place so secret, the US government didn't even officially acknowledge its existence until 2013. Of course, I'm talking about Area 51. This is a different kind of tech dead zone. It's not caused by nature, but by design. So, let's paint a picture. You're a tech enthusiast, an urban explorer, maybe just a curious tourist. You've seen the memes, you've heard the stories about aliens and UFOs, and you decide to take a road trip down the extraterrestrial highway. You've got your DSLR with a huge zoom lens, a drone in the trunk, your top-of-the-line smartphone ready to go live and document your adventure. You want to be the one to finally get a glimpse of what's inside. As you get closer to the perimeter of the base, you pull over. The signs are pretty clear. Use of deadly force authorized, but you're not crossing the line, you're just trying to get a shot from a distance. You pull out your drone, a brand new DJI with incredible range and a stabilized 4K camera. You power it on, the props spin up, and you launch it into the air. It climbs, giving you a beautiful panoramic view of the desert landscape. Then, as it approaches the invisible line of the base's airspace, it just stops responding. The controls on your remote are dead. The video feed cuts out. You see your drone, a $1,000 piece of tech, just hovering for a moment before it turns and flies off in a direction you didn't command, or worse, just drops out of the sky like a stone. Your gadget has been hijacked or disabled completely and remotely. This isn't a glitch. Area 51 and other sensitive military installations are protected by some of the most sophisticated electronic warfare and signal jamming technology on the planet. We're talking about powerful, targeted systems that can disrupt GPS, block command and control frequencies for drones, and interfere with pretty much any form of wireless communication. They create a massive, invisible bubble of electronic silence. Think about it like this. You're trying to have a conversation in a room, and someone turns on 100 vacuum cleaners. The noise is so overwhelming, you can't hear anything. That's essentially what high-powered jammers do to the radio spectrum. They flood the airwaves with noise, drowning out the legitimate signals your phone, GPS or drone needs to operate. And it's not just about jamming, they likely have more advanced spoofing technology. Instead of just blocking your GPS, they can feed it false data, making you think you're somewhere you're not. They could take control of your drone, not just crash it, but fly it straight into a hangar for analysis. It's a level of technological dominance that is both impressive and a little bit scary. So, here's a practical tip for the curious. But please, be smart and respect the warnings. If you're ever exploring near a sensitive military area, the best camera to bring might be an old-school film camera. It has no electronic components that can be easily jammed or wiped. It's pure mechanics and chemistry. And my question for you is this: have you ever been somewhere and felt like you were being watched not by a person but by technology? Let me know. Alright, for our number 3 spot, we're heading south of the border to the Mapimi Biosphere Reserve in Durango, Mexico. This place has a name that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, La Zona del Silencio, or The Zone of Silence, and it lives up to its name. This isn't a military installation or a mythical spot in the ocean. This is a patch of desert, on land, that seems to naturally repel radio waves. Imagine you're on a research trip, or maybe you're just an adventurous traveler exploring this unique desert landscape. It's hot, it's vast, and it's eerily quiet. You pull out your walkie-talkie to check in with your partner who's just a few hundred feet away. You press the button, speak into it, and nothing. Not even static on their end. They try to call you back. Silence. It's as if the words are just being absorbed by the air itself. You think, okay, maybe the walkie-talkies are broken. So you pull out your phone. You had full bars just a few miles back, but now, no service. Not just no data, but no connection to any network at all. You try to tune a portable radio to a powerful AM station that should be easy to pick up. All you get is a faint hiss, which then fades into complete unnerving silence as you move deeper into the zone's core. This phenomenon has been documented for decades. The story goes that in the 1930s, a Mexican pilot named Francisco Sarabia experienced a complete instrument and radio failure while flying over the area. The mystery deepened in 1970 when an unarmed Athena test missile launched from a U.S. base in Utah went wildly off course and for some reason crashed right in the heart of this specific patch of desert. So what is going on here? The leading scientific theory points to a combination of factors. The region is known to be rich in magnetite, a naturally occurring magnetic iron ore. High concentrations of this mineral in the ground could potentially create localized magnetic anomalies that interfere with low-frequency radio waves. It's like having a giant, weak magnet buried under the sand, scrambling signals that pass over it. Furthermore, the area is constantly bombarded by a higher-than-normal level of ultraviolet radiation. Some researchers believe that this intense UV radiation, combined with atmospheric conditions unique to the region, could create an ionized layer in the lower atmosphere that absorbs or deflects radio signals before they can reach receivers on the ground. It's a fascinating and complex interplay of geology and atmospheric science. Unlike Area 51, there's no intentional jamming. It's just the planet itself, through a fluke of its composition, creating a place where a fundamental technology of the 20th century simply ceases to function. While these stories are harder to verify, they add to the deep sense of mystery that hangs over the desert. It's a place that feels disconnected from the modern world in a very real, measurable way. So here's the cliffhanger before the tip. You're stranded, your communications are dead, and your GPS isn't working. The sun is beating down. How do you find your way back? Here's the practical takeaway. The effect is most pronounced on low-frequency radio waves. While your cell phone and walkie-talkie might be useless, a high-frequency satellite phone might, and I stress might, be able to punch a signal through. The better tip? Always carry a physical compass and a paper map, and know how to use them. Moving up to our number 2 spot, we're heading across the globe to an area in the Pacific Ocean south of Tokyo, known as the Ma no Umi in Japanese, which translates to the Devil's Sea. Sometimes it's also called the Dragon's Triangle. If the Bermuda Triangle is the famous Atlantic mystery, this is its equally dangerous and technologically baffling Pacific counterpart. And the stories here are just as chilling. This isn't just a modern phenomenon tied to electronics. Japanese fishermen and sailors have considered this area dangerous for centuries, with legends of dragons and sea monsters pulling ships beneath the waves. But in the modern era, the legend has evolved. Let's set the scene. Imagine you're on a modern Japanese research vessel, the Kaiomaru No. 5. It's September 1952. The ship is packed with scientists and the best equipment of the day, specifically sent by the Japanese government to investigate the reports of other vessels vanishing in the Devil's Sea. They are there to find answers, to demystify the region with science and technology. The ship sends its last radio message and then, complete silence. It vanishes without a trace. No distress call, no wreckage, no oil slick. The very ship sent to investigate the disappearances becomes one of them. 31 crew members and scientists gone. This event was so shocking that the Japanese government officially declared the area a danger zone for shipping. So what are we dealing with here? The Devil's Sea is one of 12 vile vortices identified by the researcher Ivan T. Sanderson. These are areas around the globe, including the Bermuda Triangle, that are said to have extreme electromagnetic aberrations. The Devil's Sea sits on the exact opposite side of the planet from the Bermuda Triangle, which is a fascinating, if spooky, coincidence. The tech failures reported here are remarkably similar to those in the Bermuda Triangle, but some say they are even more intense. We're talking about sudden, thick, disorienting fogs that appear out of nowhere on clear days. Compasses that don't just spin, but reportedly point straight down. One of the prevailing theories here is intense undersea volcanic activity. This region is part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, a hotbed of tectonic and volcanic action. Submarine volcanoes can erupt without any visible sign on the surface, but they can release enormous amounts of energy, gases, and magnetic material. This could create massive, temporary disruptions in the Earth's magnetic field. Imagine a huge magnetic pulse from below, scrambling every electronic instrument on your ship. It could also create what are known as rogue waves, or other sea anomalies that could capsize even a large vessel in moments, leaving no time for a distress call. The sudden release of gases could also create a low-density area in the water, causing a ship to lose buoyancy and sink rapidly. It's a terrifying combination of geological forces creating an environment that is actively hostile to both seafaring and the technology we use to do it safely. The sheer power of the planet is on full display here, and it serves as a humbling reminder that, for all our innovation, we are still very much at the mercy of the Earth's most violent and unpredictable processes. So, if you're a sailor, what can you possibly do when faced with a force of nature that can swallow a ship whole? The practical tip here is one of avoidance and respect. Modern maritime charts and government agencies explicitly label the Devil's Sea as a hazardous area. The best tech is the information that tells you to steer clear. If passage is unavoidable, sailors are advised to rely on multiple redundant systems and, like in the Bermuda Triangle, have analog and celestial navigation skills ready as a last resort. And now, for the number 1 spot on our countdown of places where tech fails, and this one might surprise you. We've been to mysterious oceans and secret deserts, but the most effective tech dead zone on the planet isn't a natural phenomenon or a government conspiracy. It's something man-made, something you can build in your garage, and something you've almost certainly been inside of without even knowing it. We're talking about the Faraday cage. So, what exactly is a Faraday cage? Put simply, it's a container made of a conducting material, like a fine metal mesh, that blocks external static and non-static electric fields. It was invented by the brilliant scientist Michael Faraday in 1836. The principle is pretty straightforward. The conductive material distributes the charge or radiation around the exterior of the cage, canceling it out on the interior. Nothing gets in, and nothing gets out. It is the ultimate undefeated champion of technological silence. Inside a well-constructed Faraday cage, your smartphone will have 0 bars, instantly. Your Wi-Fi connection will drop, your Bluetooth headphones will disconnect. Any device that relies on sending or receiving electromagnetic signals, which is most of modern mobile tech, becomes completely and utterly useless. It's not a glitch, it's physics. Now you might be thinking, okay, cool science project, but where would I ever encounter one of these? And the answer is, all over the place. That microwave oven in your kitchen? The door has a mesh screen that acts as a Faraday cage to keep the microwaves inside, cooking your food, instead of outside cooking you. It's a perfect, everyday example, but they're used for much more critical applications. Sensitive government buildings, especially secure communications rooms, known as SCIFs, are essentially room-sized Faraday cages to prevent electronic eavesdropping. No one can listen in with a remote device if no signals can get in or out. MRI rooms in hospitals are also heavily shielded Faraday cages to prevent external radio frequency signals from interfering with the delicate imaging equipment. So, while Area 51 uses powerful jammers to create a bubble of interference, a Faraday cage creates a bubble of true, absolute silence. It's a passive system requiring no power that is nearly 100% effective. It's elegant, it's simple, and it's unbeatable. You can't brute force a signal through it with more power. The cage just harmlessly dissipates it. Let's bring it back to a relatable story. Imagine you're a tech journalist invited to a top-secret lab to see a new prototype. Before you enter the room, they ask you to place your phone, your smartwatch, your laptop, everything, in a locker outside. You then walk into the room, and the door is this thick, heavy thing with metallic seams. You're inside a SCIF. It's a weird feeling. You feel disconnected, isolated from the digital world in a way that's rare these days. It's the ultimate security measure. They can show you their most secret tech, knowing that there's absolutely no way for you to surreptitiously record or transmit anything out of that room. Your multi-$1,000 suite of gadgets has been completely neutralized by some well-placed copper mesh. It's a powerful demonstration of how simple physics can defeat complex technology. And here's the kicker. Your car is a pretty decent, albeit imperfect, Faraday cage. The metal chassis can weaken or block radio signals, which is why you might lose your cell signal or radio station when you drive through a tunnel or under a large metal bridge. An elevator is another great example. The metal box you're riding in is very effective at blocking signals, which is why your calls almost always drop. So, the number one place where tech fails is a concept, a design, that we use every single day for safety, security, and even cooking. It's a fundamental principle that trumps all our fancy wireless protocols. So the practical tip here is this. If you ever truly need to go off the grid and ensure your devices can't be tracked or listened to, you don't need to go to the desert. You just need a Faraday bag, a simple, affordable pouch that you can put your phone in. It's a personal dead zone on demand. It's a simple way to take back control of your digital privacy. So there you have it. From the mythical depths of the Devil's Sea to the simple metal box of a Faraday cage, it's clear that for all its power, our technology has its limits and vulnerabilities. These dead zones, both natural and man-made, are fascinating reminders that the world is more complex and mysterious than what we see on our screens. They force us to think differently, to have backup plans, and to respect the powerful forces, both natural and artificial, that can silence our connections in an instant. It's a good lesson in humility for any tech lover. What I find most interesting is the spectrum of these failures. On one end you have the raw, untamable power of the planet, with its magnetic anomalies and volcanic fury. On the other, you have the elegant, calculated application of physics to create perfect, intentional silence. Both achieve the same result. They disconnect us. It really makes you appreciate that seamless connection you have right now, the one that's allowing you to watch this video from anywhere in the world. It's a privilege, not a guarantee. Thinking about these tech blackouts really puts our daily digital lives into perspective. It's a big, weird, wonderful world out there, full of mysteries that we're still trying to solve with the very tech that sometimes fails us. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and keep exploring the fascinating intersection of technology and the unknown, make sure you subscribe to Omniverse Network. We've got so much more to explore together and you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.